Hey guys, how's it going? Nice little reprieve from these little comments. Now we're back, and this time it's a wild card. Uh, since we have the freedom to speak about what we want to in this post instead of sticking to a restrained topic, I'm going to go with Chapter 1's very first sentence. It states that American higher education has been regarded universally as the best in the world. Really? The best in the world? I have problems with this. First, we took our model from Germany, and so you would think the people who invented it are the best. Well, yes, we do have really strong institutions and some of the best institutions in the world. That does not mean as a whole they are the best. I would say and argue that we are super saturated with a lot of poor quality universities, especially for-profit universities. Um, so I think that's an issue in itself, and I'm getting the vibe from the author that they have a lot of their own opinions in this book so far, between chapter 1 and chapter 2. Um, I'd like to see some substantiated claims about being regarded as universally the best in the world. I mean, consistently, other universities outperform us in in employment and education rate. So, as a whole, like it's kind of hard to compare having multiple plethora of universities, like 30, 40 in a state or something like that, to having that many in a singular country, if at all. But I think that's a lot of a Western idealization of thinking we're the best at everything. But again, well, yes, we do have quite a few that are very strong universities. I mean, very strong. I just don't think we are universally the best in the world. There is a lot of work to improve in. And then further, there's a claim made later on, and it was stating roughly that revenue has been going up from every direction. And more specifically, it alludes to and talks about these funds going up from state revenue, from state appropriations. Now, as far as I'm concerned, and from what I've read and understood prior to just about everything, state funding has gone down incredibly by at least 80%. So I decided to look. I was like, okay, let's give this author a chance. Sure, funding's up across the board. We'll go with that. What I found was, no, it's not. It's not even close to being up. In fact, for the past few years, funding from the state has gone down so much that public universities are starting to have to privatize their funding. And as recent as this year, we can look at the Georgia system, for example. Because of the massive cuts in funding for universities, we have to privatize certain areas of departments and institutions. We've had to merge institutions. Well, yeah, sure, Georgia had quite a bit of systems in small areas that didn't really make sense. It just, at the same time, we've having to cut these because of state losses. I mean, we could look at, let's just take Valdosta. It's the easiest one to refer to because, I mean, offhand, I know that a lot of funding has come from endowments and corporations for specific research grants. Now, if we didn't have those grants, we'd be struggling very, very hard. So it's really tough for me to understand why this author has stated that revenue has gone up when in fact it's gone down. So that being said, I'm having trouble agreeing with this author making these claims, and it's one of those things where maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but I even seem to make some dissonance between the book we were previously reading and this one. Mostly another point about the focusing on the cost adjustments, the inflation rates, and talking about HECA and then HEPI, and saying that it's not really a good scale. And I agree with some of the arguments being made that self-reported budget is not really, or self-reported pay rate is not really a good method to do it. So I understand that, but I struggle with these claims that this author is making, and it seems to be somewhat unsubstantiated. And I know he refers to a lot of, in my past experience, blah, 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 and it has not been refuted. So, okay, fine. But I think the one that really sticks out to me is, A, he has a very strong Western centralized personality, from what I can tell, and B, it's really, 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 really frustrating to see that this author is claiming that state revenue has gone up. That's just simply a joke. I don't know if he's looked lately, but again, everywhere. I mean, everywhere is starting to have to privatize. Biggest example would be the privatization of housing. While yes, it's an auxiliary service and generates its own money, there was state funding helped those students initially get into the institutions through maybe Pell Grants or other state-funded grants to these students, who would also help them pay their on-campus costs, which made it more lucrative for the students to live on campus because they could use those funds specifically to live. Whereas they could not use those funds to live off campus unless they were able to find some way to reimburse it, and even so, it wasn't supposed to be allocated that way. So it makes it an interesting argument that state funding is affecting all areas, not just the institution as a whole. Yes, it is an institution as a whole, but more importantly, the micro levels that you're not seeing. So again, I can't really agree with this author, especially those 2 points. The point of universally being regarded as the best system in the world, and all revenue sources going up. That's simply just not true, and more that we look through these papers and through different articles, it shows that that's not the case. And I mean, topically, you can see that it's not the case. So again, I mean, this book is not that old, and it's definitely occurring during the time frame of his claims. So yeah, 2010, we definitely had a market crash then. So, and I mean, this has been going on for years, so I still don't understand what he was trying to get at. And I mean, otherwise, there's a lot of good, useful information, but it just seems to be a lot of opinion. And again, I could be entirely wrong, but that's the point of having an opinion. I guess that's the double-edged side of giving my opinion on this guy's opinion. Alright, so from sunny South Florida, in my beautiful office, that looks like it's going to storm today, but it looks like that every day, so I don't really count on that. Have a nice week, and I'll see you guys in about 13 days for those of you returning, and by that I mean Stephanie Poggi. I'll see you in 13 days. Everybody else, I'll see you August 8th. Take it easy, guys.